Welcome everybody, both audio and video, to HomeKit Insider. You've got me, Andrew O'Hara, here with my pal and Olympic yodeler, Stephen Robles. How you doing, man?
Ricola. I figured I had to yodel if you did that. I mean...
Is that the only yodel you know? You can only yodel the Rickle?
I mean, isn't that like the yodel-hee-hoo? Isn't that a thing?
I guess.
I don't know.
I mean, the Olympic yodeler. I mean, I don't really know. Like,
Yeah,
is there like
yodeler.
a song? Do they have songs? Or is it more like a free-form thing?
Oh, you have to wear
know.
those like overalls, right? If you're gonna yodel, you got to wear the.
I think
the
so.
hat and the overalls and stuff. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I misplaced mine in the move. I need to get some more for yodeling. But anyway, we'll talk about yodeling later. No, we won't. That's not true. We're gonna talk about.
Oh gosh, I can already see the angry tweets. Stop talking about yodeling and get back to the HomeKit.
I don't know. Maybe we'll have the opposite. Maybe we'll say we are actually yodel fans. Maybe there's yodelers
Yeah,
out there.
maybe there's more yodeler. Maybe more. I don't. I was trying to think of what a yodel fan would be
I
called.
don't know. Maybe instead of
But,
HomeKiteers, we should have gone with home yodelers. No. No, it's
The
gone.
yodel homies.
Oh, it's gone too far. It's gone too far. All right. Let's talk about HomeKit stuff. We got
You're trapped in.
a couple pieces of news here. So Arlo, the camera maker, we talk about Arlo a bunch on this show. They actually had an outage. This is 2 Fridays ago, or a little over a week ago as you're listening to this episode. And it was kind of right as they were launching their new security monitoring plans that the outage was not a service outage per se, but an outage of Apple's HomeKit platform, meaning for a certain amount of time, users could not add Arlo cameras to HomeKit. And there was like over 600 comments on a certain thread on Arlo's website and all that. But they fixed it pretty quickly. And I think you reached out or they maybe contacted you about the fix. But how quick was that turnaround? And did you experience any of that? I mean, you already have your Arlo cameras set up, but I don't know.
Yeah. So to be clear, in terms of like, there was no issue accessing cameras.
Right.
So that was not what was going on. This is purely so Arlo added HomeKit via software update, and whenever you do go to add like cameras or your hub and stuff to HomeKit, it basically has to generate like a token, a HomeKit token, and for some reason something in there was not like authenticating or going through, and that was the problem. So it was specifically adding new HomeKit devices, new Arlo cameras to HomeKit. That was not working. You could always access them through the Arlo app, and anything that was already added to HomeKit was just, fine and dandy. You could view it through HomeKit, no problem whatsoever. So it looked like the problem had been going on for a little while, and we had actually heard from 1 or 2 listeners that they had issues about this. We started to look into it a little bit more, and we came across the threads on, Arlo support pages where there was a bunch of people who were having issues. Arlo support was being responsive and trying to reset HomeKit tokens and stuff like that. Eventually, when we wrote about it, I wrote up an article I guess 2 Fridays ago, just a little over a week ago. I wrote it up on AppleInsider, and then within 2 days after that, I got another response back from Arlo saying, hey, this is fixed. There's a new app update rolling out now. It's available to download. Fixes all of those HomeKit issues, or the one HomeKit issue that was going on. So they were pretty quick from the time that we reported on it to when it was fixed. I mean, it was over a weekend that we got a response back. So that was great to see how quick they were to turn that around. Unfortunately, there was no really you just had to wait a little while to get your cameras added to HomeKit. But it was fixed, and at the moment, no issues whatsoever.
Okay. Well, good on Arlo for fixing it quickly, for sure. And now this other thing, just a little bit of news, but we actually did a review on AppleInsider. I believe this was Malcolm on the site, but he talked about the new Meross. I'm going to keep that correct pronunciation. I'm not going to say all the other ones that I normally do. But they have a new Wi-Fi smart plug that is HomeKit compatible that you can pick up now. Again, we've talked about lots of HomeKit smart plugs and all that. But I think this one is interesting because if you are looking for budget-friendly options of HomeKit stuff, you can get one of these Meross HomeKit smart plugs for $15. $15 gets you in the HomeKit door using a plug like this. I thought that was pretty cool, and you can even get 3 for $30. So that drops it down to like $10 a plug if you buy 3 at once. So, if you've never tried a HomeKit before, but you really want to get into it, try a smart plug. Meross, they got you. No hub needed. You connect directly to HomeKit right there with just the plug. So, yeah, check it out. It's pretty cool.
The only thing that, that's such a good price. if I needed more smart plugs, I'd be going and buying some.
Right.
Because I have so many at the moment, and I've been trying to get rid of the plugs and switch to more like smart light switches and stuff like that, so I don't have as many plugs going on.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you got me nervous from when you had your outdoor one. That was Meross, right? That you never got fully added to HomeKit.
Yeah, the 2.4 gigahertz versus 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi, I think, was the issue. But now, since we've moved, like I don't even know where that plug is, so I'm not sure. But
see, I don't buy that as an excuse from people because I've heard that before, and pretty much I'm fairly certain almost every single like smart home HomeKit device runs on 2.4.
Right.
Like I don't think almost anything runs on 5, and I've never had the issue. So if I had like one random smart home device that was like having issues connecting to it, whereas the rest of my HomeKit stuff all managed to figure it out just fine, I'm still putting the blame on that product.
Right,
I don't care if they're trying to blame it on my network. You're the product that can't figure it out, whereas every single other one has. And I've had that conversation with smart home manufacturers before, and I don't buy that as like a good excuse. I'm not breaking my network up into multiple ones, especially if you got a mesh network and you got like 3 routers, and it gets messy real fast.
that's a good point. And I will say the Meross garage door opener, I talked about it a number of episodes ago as I recently installed it. I will say rock solid. Like that thing works every time. It tells me if the door's open or closed. Like I never have connectivity issues now. Setting it up was a pain in the butt. Like it definitely took a while to connect to the Wi-Fi network, be recognized by the HomeKit app. And so maybe it's just a thing where Meross's like setup process, I don't know, is non-ideal or something. I don't know. But once it's connected, I'll say it's rock solid. But you might have some frustration initially setting it up and trying to get it connected to your Wi-Fi network. So it's a good word of warning. But again, $15. Surely it will work even after you get it set up if it's a little frustrating that way. But yeah, $15. Try it out.
Yeah.
Do it.
So, you've had any new projects this past week? I feel like we've been kind of busy. Have you gotten anything, fun going on? Especially, I mean, it's harder for you, I guess, since you're kind of like in a temporary housing situation.
Yeah, I actually left some of my Hue candelabra bulbs in a ceiling fan in my old house, and we still have not closed yet. We might be closing today as we record. So I went and I got those lights. I got one of my colored Hue bulb lights, so there's no more smart bulbs in that old house. I got it all out. And so I'm going to be putting that here in this house. There's actually a kind of like a patio lanai section. It's enclosed, but we kind of store some stuff back there. And there's a ceiling fan, but the only way to turn it on is a chain that's kind of high. And so what I'm going to do is get on a step ladder, use those Philips Hue candelabra bulbs in that ceiling fan. And then I have another Hue motion detector that I got. It's sitting in the box waiting for me. And going to use that so when you walk into this patio area, because it's pretty dark, because it's all enclosed, there's no windows, and it should turn on automatically and have it turn off after a certain amount of time. Unfortunately, as we've talked about in the past, like I tried to automate all the lights in our part of the house where they would turn off when there's no motion, but I found that was just aggravating everybody too much, where if they were sitting in a room too still, it would just turn off on them constantly. And so I had to stop doing that. I do have them set where if motion detects and they turn on, they'll turn off after like 10 or 15 minutes. I forget how it's set. But I do find that every once in a while, for whatever reason, maybe it's because they were turned on manually with the Lutron Aurora dial, that I'll walk around and there's still some lights left on, even if no one's been back there for a while. So imperfect, using the no motion detected as to turn off lights, like it's super aggressive, but you can be sure those lights are going to be off. The other method of, turn on if there's motion, then turn off after a certain amount of time. It's not as strict about turning them off, because if someone manually turns it on, or maybe someone turned it on with their device, they're just going to stay on unless someone turns them off manually. So still working through all that. I've not found an ideal system. I tried using Home Plus 4 to set up like multiple conditionals, but just could not get it just right. So that's how we're rocking right now. Still doing Hue everywhere. Going to add some more Hue bulbs and see if eventually I can get the system down where if no one's around this area, I just want the lights off. That's the goal. But you have to tell like that there's no I also don't want it turning off on my wife if she's in the bedroom reading something. So it's a complicated problem to say.
It's definitely a complicated problem.
And do you have any of those areas of your house where you try to have aggressive automations to turn lights off? Or do you just kind of leave everything to Siri and manual stuff?
Mostly to manual. The specific spots that I think the motion sensors are fantastic is the bathrooms. Like, I really like just being able to walk into the bathroom and the lights come on, and then you leave and they turn off. Like, so far for us, those have worked really well, and then I can set them to like different color temperatures and brightnesses based on the time of day, so it's even more convenient. So if I walk in there in the middle of the night, I'm not getting blinded, or I could just turn on like the lower lights underneath our cabinets.
Right.
Like if I go in at night. So there's a lot of like wiggle room there, and I find it's a little bit easier. Like, you can set it for a period of time to have them turn off, or just no motion. And for us, those have worked really well for our 2 bathrooms that we got.
Okay.
But other than that, like in the living room and stuff like that, like if we're watching a movie or whatever, not going to work. If dogs are triggering motion sensors, stuff's going to turn on. So like it's just never reliable. In like the main living rooms of the house, I really just prefer to use, scenes and Siri and stuff like that to control that stuff.
Yeah. Well, listeners, let us know. I'm really curious to hear if anybody has aggressive automations for turning lights off when there's no one around, but not leaving people in the dark if they're very still. It seems like that's the issue that is hard to solve. What happens if someone's just reading a book, sitting somewhere, and a motion detector doesn't sense them? I feel like we need...
This sounds like what Apple was specifically trying to solve. Like where they put a HomePod in every room, and they're able to use the U1 to track like who's in rooms, and then not turn the lights off if you're in the room. Like they can tell where you are and how far away you are, and then keep the lights on. Like that sounds like that patent that we saw that Apple had filed on that. So we've also seen companies like RoomMe. Is that the
RoomMe?
I think it's called RoomMe. Okay. And that works with HomeKit, and it's like personalized sensors that go in your home, and you can mount them essentially in each room. They're able to detect who's in there and turn the lights on and off via HomeKit and stuff like that. So that could be a possibility. But I have those sitting in a box, and I never got to test them out because it was right when we were moving, and I wasn't ready to install a bunch of ceiling-mounted devices to really test out. So that might be something I have to try.
It seems like to be exactly what I was thinking of, some way to tell that there's presence of someone in the room without motion. This thing is $120. RoomMe Smart Presence Sensor, Professional Presence Detection. This sounds a little...
Professional.
Professional. It sounds a hair creepy. I don't know anything about the technology, but it sounds a little bit like, how are you detecting my presence? That's all.
So I don't know how RoomMe is doing it. I don't know how they're doing it. But the presence sensing tech is pretty far along. There's 2 different companies that are really using it right now for like kind of different purposes. The one, I don't remember their name. I've talked to them a few times. Don't remember their name. So sorry, I can't give you a plug. But the other one is Belkin, who is building it into their Linksys routers. And it's called like the Linksys Aware. And they're actually using your Wi-Fi network to detect your body. And they can even like placed bedside, these things can even tell like your breathing. So they're able to use these, they're using them for a lot like elder care and stuff like that. Okay. And they're able to tell when someone falls. They're able to tell like, they gone into their bedroom or something like that. So it's really helpful to, to monitor a loved one. But they're otherwise in general able to tell like, other motion. So there's other companies using it as a security device. I think they originally created the tech, and then I think Belkin licensed it for the routers, but they're using it as an intelligent security device in your home. So instead of having like a security alarm that's just a generic motion sensor, this is able to specifically tell like a person versus like an animal, and they're able to track where they like walked through your home, whereas like regular motion sensors wouldn't be able to do that. So it's a little bit more accurate that way, and it's all kind of like invisible, and there's no actual cameras or anything. So that was another really neat like tech like that, but it sounds like we're getting closer to actual like presence monitoring versus generic motion and PIR sensors.
That's interesting. So the RoomMe, reading about it, it seems to detect using your phone. So they say like the app has to be able to have background access, to be able to do stuff in the background. So it's basically the app communicating with this physical device. So it's not anything, like U1 or whatever.
So Bluetooth, basically. Just Bluetooth proximity.
Yeah, like Bluetooth proximity. But I do feel like either U1 ultra wideband or Bluetooth to HomePods would solve a lot of things because like I have HomePods in the bedroom, and if someone was there, U1 chip, sensing that it's there, like yeah, that would be great to just use it. It'd be great if you could just use the HomePod as the sensor in HomeKit. Which I don't know if you remember, but like when the HomePod Mini first came out, I think it was iFixit did the tear down, and there was like a temperature sensor in there or something, and there was another kind of sensor. I was like, man, if the HomePod Mini could not only be a speaker and Siri device, but also a temperature sensor and maybe even a presence sensor, that would be a killer device. I mean, I would put those in a lot of places, so that'd be cool. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I agree. I think the other thing we saw in this space, I've forgotten it, Steven.
Oh, no.
Oh, dang it, we were talking about, Nanoleaf has their new stuff that they had talked about like two CESs ago, and then when their CEO was on the show, we talked about it with him. But it's like their smart learning series, right? That would like essentially learn as you go throughout your home, and they were building in like all sorts of different sensors and stuff to control all of your lights. So that's another one kind of working on this general problem that we've got with HomeKit and other platforms. So it sounds like another one of those problems where we're like, hey, the solution's coming, just not yet. So you're stuck sitting in the dark, literally.
I'm looking up
until it shows up.
Exactly. I'm looking up different sensors right now. Have you tried the Onvis motion sensor? ONVIS?
No, I haven't. I'm familiar with the brand, haven't tried their motion sensor.
Well, as we did last episode, which I need to do a follow-up on the Belkin thing that I bought, because I bought that on the air last week. Let me buy something on the air right now.
Well, while you finish your shopping,
yes,
you said something earlier that I want to know from people. How many people have moved and inadvertently left some of their HomeKit gear behind? Because it sounds like you just did it, and I've also done it. I was so good at getting like switches and thermostats, everything else out of our old apartment, and I left my Eve degree outside. Yes. Or maybe it was Eve Weather at that point, like the OG Eve Weather. And I left it out on my patio. And I was like, oh no.
That's sad.
I can't go back and get that one. So I've definitely left stuff behind. And like when we moved again from our townhome to our house, I was really specific. Like, okay, where did I mount everything? Where did I hide my outdoor sensors? I literally hid one in like a lamp outside. I need a good spot to stick my temperature sensor, Steven.
Sure, okay.
And those lights were never on or anything, so they wouldn't generate any, heat. So I can just tuck it right up inside of there, and I'm gonna get a nice place. It's in the shade. Like we talked about temperature. Right, you want a good height. That's right. You want in the not direct sunlight. Really specific. So I found a good spot, and it was inside of this light. And I was very paranoid. I was gonna leave it there, but I got it. So I've definitely left stuff. I want to know how many other people have left their gear behind on accident, because I'm sure it's not uncommon.
That'd be interesting to know. Tweet at Andrew and myself. We'd love to know. I think I did. Actually, I know I did. I left a couple Lutron switches in the wall because I just didn't want to deal with taking them out.
I was say those were on purpose. You said you were leaving those.
Yeah, I said I was leaving those. But I did scour the outside because I had like 2 Logitech Circle Views, and I had my Eve Aqua. So I searched the outside perimeter, and I was like, I ain't leaving none of this. But smart bulbs, those are the ones that are easy to miss. Especially if one of those ceiling fans that has like a globe over the lights. You just don't even think about it. So, but I got them. They're safe and sound.
Nice.
In my possession.
Well, I didn't really have any other... You had at least some stuff going on this week. The only thing I had a big harvest from our garden, which was like good and bad. And so it's all watered, automatically with my Eve Thread-enabled like water controller, which is very handy in our raised garden beds. The sad side of it is I don't like most of what I harvested.
Oh no!
I grow the cucumbers for my wife because she does like cucumbers and pickles and stuff like that. And I grew these tomatoes, and I was growing a very specific type of tomato that I use for making homemade pasta sauce. Oh. And I must have like grabbed the wrong seeds or mixed up the plants because it's not the one I planted, not the one I thought I planted. So I had like a freaking grocery bag full of it was so many like cherry tomatoes, and they're super, super sweet. And I'm like, this is not what I was going for my pasta sauce. Like it it tastes like I dumped a bunch of sugar in.
Really?
So it was not the right tomato that I thought I had planted, and now it's like gigantic and taking over my garden. So both my neighbors got bagfuls of cherry tomatoes this past couple days as I tried to get rid of everything. I'm like, I can't do anything with them, and they've taken over my garden.
Oh, man. Well,
yeah, but I got some kale for the bunnies, and picked a bunch of strawberries. So, and bell peppers. I do like bell peppers.
Bell peppers are good. They're very good.
Yeah, I had some progress there, and I have been. So one of our projects coming up is we're going to be renovating our master bathroom, and the degree of which we renovate has been up for debate. As we we have a big tub, like a big old spa tub, like it literally got like jets and controls. We hate it. We haven't used this tub. We've been in there here like 2 years. It's like such a waste of space because it's huge, and we're like, man, it would be nice to have storage or something else in here. And so we're like debating, okay, do we just replace our shower, or do we like also replace the tub at the same time? So we've been going back and forth, but as we've been talking about it, I'm like, man, I wonder if I should try to look into one of those U by Moen shower things. Just because I've never got to try one, and I'm like, I kind of want to just like, it's got the fanciness. If I'm going to be ripping it out and putting in tile and everything else, I could manage that. So I've been thinking about it a little bit. Like, it's unnecessary for sure, but I also just want to kind of do it, and I kind of want to write about it. So
yeah,
we'll have to see.
That'd be fun. Yeah, that'd be cool. We have to see some pictures, man. Bathroom renovations are fun, Well, fun. They're fun to have done,
To have done for you is the easier part. I thought we talked about this. I hate shower curtains a whole lot.
Yes.
And it's just like plastic shell in there, like moves around, and like freaking this house is like brand new, and yet we still have like this garbage shower in there. And it's like already chipping after like a couple of months. I'm like, how is it happening? It's not like I dropped like a rock in here. How is the bottom of this thing like having little chip marks in it? Like, it's stupid.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So I'm going to rip that out and then do some nice tile work in there. And then as I'm doing that, I'm like, I got to put that U by Moen thing. It'll fit right here.
There you go.
It'll fit in very nicely.
There you go. Yes.
So we'll see.
All right. Well, I have now bought the Onvis motion detector, and I'll report back on that next week. It arrives today. It's apparently like same day delivery. We're getting more of those.
So what is special about this Onvis one versus any other HomeKit motion sensor?
Well, I have no idea. I didn't know Onvis made one, so I'm just going to try it out.
Oh, okay. So you just want...
I don't want to try it because I have the Hue. I have a bunch of the Hue ones. I have an Eve motion detector.
So far for me, the Hue one has been best because you have more granular control. You can control the level of motion needed to trigger it.
Right.
Stuff like that. And you get additional sensors in there. You're getting a lux sensor for the light. You're getting, I think, like the temperature sensors in there.
Yes, you do.
So you're getting like a bonus sensors all in this one, and more granular motion. So if I'm picking one right now, I'm going with the Hue one.
Well,
but it works best when you have Hue bulbs that you're controlling.
Right. Now, this the Onvis one, it does also supposedly do, I think, a couple other things like humidity, and I think it does temperature as well. Yeah, it does, yes. No, so it does temperature and humidity, motion. Obviously, it works with HomeKit. So, I don't know. I'm going to try it out. Because, I do have, I've found that the Hue ones are very fast, responsive. Like, you can crank that up, and the lights turn on very quickly. So, we'll see. We'll see how this Onvis compares with those, and we'll do a little motion detector roundup next time. But before we get onto what I bought on last week's episode, I want to tell you about our friends at Hunter Douglas. They've been awesome sponsoring the show for several weeks now. If you didn't know, Hunter Douglas makes those amazing smart shades. And of all the things you can do in your smart home, you got the plugs, you got the light switches, you might not have thought about doing smart shades yet. But let me tell you, as you will hear Andrew pontificate about in a moment, smart shades are literally the best, and you should definitely consider them. Hunter Douglas, they make unique shade designs that can transform sunlight, casting beautiful glow across your house and different rooms. You can brighten dark corners or provide shade when the sun's coming in real harsh. Their shades use advanced fabrics that provide clear views to the outside of your home while providing daytime privacy inside. And they're energy efficient. They lead the industry here. They provide insulation against heat, cold for year-round comfort, and they make an assortment of beautiful colors. But of course, the best part about these shades is the PowerView technology, which is HomeKit compatible, so you can get these shades right there in the Home app. You can use automations with the Hunter Douglas shades, control them from your phone, control them from Siri. It is awesome. And so all this innovation from Hunter Douglas shades. Andrew, are you still loving your Hunter Douglas shades?
Yes I am. And people, just go get some shades, because they're one of the best things that you can add to your HomeKit home. And like, it's whether you're building like a new home and you got to put shades in anyway. Shades are kind of expensive, and if you're gonna get them, you might as well just get the ones with HomeKit, because it's freaking awesome.
Yes.
And if you already have a home, it's a great way to be able to revamp a room. I mean, you can add some accent colors. There's like the different privacy, and there's so many different fabrics and styles. It's incredible. Like, I can't tell you how long I spent just staring at these. And even my wife was like, you just need to pick one at this point. There's a lot, like, it was for my studio, so like it was down to my choice anyway, so I couldn't like rely on her to make the decision. It was straight up on me. And like, even like they have like a pro installer come out if you want to have them like professionally installed, and he came and measured everything, and he's like, okay, what fabric? I'm like, what do you think between these two? Because I can't tell, because they're all really good. And he's like, you should do this one for sure. I'm like, okay, done.
There you go.
But yeah, I have loved them. I love the top-down versions, so you can like have a little bit of light coming in, but still having the privacy. They're just overall amazing. It's such a great way to add light to your home, to add style to your home. So just go buy them. Just go get some shades. Go get some smart HomeKit PowerView shades.
Boom.
Stop. Hit pause. Do it. Come back. Finish the episode.
Do it. And so you can visit hunterdouglas.com/HomeKit today, and you get your free Style Get Smarter design guide with fresh takes, creative ideas, and smart solutions for dressing your windows. That's hunterdouglas.com/HomeKit for your free design guide. That link will be in the podcast show notes, the episode description, so you can just click it, go check out Hunter Douglas shades. Our thanks to Hunter Douglas for sponsoring this episode. Now, the review of the product everyone's been waiting for, the MagSafe car mount. It's epic product. I got it on last week's episode, and so I was trying it out. So I've tried the Moment, I've tried the Car and Driver MagSafe car mount, and I've tried, I think there was one other one, some knockoff version of something at Best Buy, I don't know. But I got the MagSafe Belkin car mount, and while it does not charge, you have to plug in your phone in order to charge it while it's on this mount, I do find that it is the first car mount that I am keeping on the car and actually using. It sticks out just far enough where my weird air conditioner vent shape doesn't obstruct the phone or make it difficult to get on and off. I find the MagSafe connection to be super solid, and lining it up and everything is very easy. I just hold my phone up and boom, it sticks right to it. And it's sturdy as I'm driving, and you can change the angle, tilt, and pan and all that kind of stuff. So while not a groundbreaking product, I do really enjoy the MagSafe car mount from Belkin as opposed to the other ones. And again, it actually works in my car. That was the Moment one was really cool.
You should have just swapped your car.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I mean, if I could have gotten a Tesla, I would have. But not yet. One day. One day.
Maybe if they get CarPlay, can finally make the leap to Tesla.
Once Elon starts accepting Dogecoin to buy a Tesla and its value skyrockets, I'll be able to buy a Tesla. I'll get a Tesla then. That's what I'm waiting for.
Okay, good.
That's what I'm waiting for.
Okay, here's my question for you.
Yes.
With yours.
Yes.
So I've noticed this with both this guy, the Vent Mount Pro
Right.
from Belkin, and Apple's own Smart MagSafe battery pack. So if you couldn't see, you can see in the video, they have the exact same footprint and they have the exact same piece, because Apple, of course, made its own MagSafe battery pack,
Right.
and Belkin is officially licensed. So the MagSafe component, the front, the face, the part that actually connects to your phone, that's legit Apple making that, and then Belkin just made the body to go around it.
Right.
So that's why like the connection is strong and everything like that. But listen, I got a few iPhones laying around here. Listen to this. Let's see if I can hold this so you can hear it. Let me see.
What in the world?
Does yours do that?
What is making the sound?
Well, it's happening like inside of it. And here's Apple's battery, and it's like the same thing. It's like this. There's clearly a clicking, and it happens with both of these. And originally I was putting the blame on Belkin, like, they must have done something shoddy in theirs. It's licensed, but there's like this, something is moving. So it's as the magnets like attract toward each other, it's like there's a piece of flexible plastic that is like, bending a little bit, and it just makes that little bit of like a crinkle, popping, clicking noise as they approach one another. And it happens with my Belkin Vent Mount Pro, and it happens with my battery pack. So clearly the problem here is in Apple's actual MagSafe component, and I don't know how that's happening. I don't know how I ended up, like, if it's not happening to you, how did I get two completely different products from two different companies that are still making the same exact noise?
Yeah.
Like, it's not like them hitting one another. It happens before they even make contact, just as that magnet is getting pulled, closer towards the phone. So have you noticed that at all? Am I crazy?
I have not. I mean, I guess I usually just slap it on pretty quick. Like, I don't, like in the car, I'll just, have my phone and go, and it's just on there. So I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll have to pay attention to it now. I don't have my MagSafe battery near me, but I'll try it.
It's just weird. It sounds like this, it sounds like just like a cheap thing, and it just.
That's weird. Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I'm not like putting it on slow like every time, but it just like as I pull them closer, like it makes that click. I'm like, why is that like making this cheap plasticky noise?
That's weird. I don't know, man.
It is.
That's weird. I'll listen to it again. That'd be something. You got 2 lemons of MagSafe stuff. But I don't know. We'll see. All right. So we'll follow up more on that stuff next week and the motion detector. But I want to get to some listener questions, feedback. Christopher Erickson, he's been a long-time listener and supporter. He actually sent... Oh, what? You can stop me already?
Real quick.
Yeah.
Could he have more of like a Swedish name? It sounds like a Viking name.
It's very Viking-y.
It sounds like he's one of I'm pretty sure he's one of Marshall's brothers from How I Met Your Mother, that they're all coming out of, where is he from, Minnesota, and they're all like tall Viking people, and they all have like names like that. I'm just saying.
He is Eric the Red. Erickson, that's his last name, is Eric the Red. He actually comes from the line from Eric the Red. But being from Sweden, he actually recorded some pronunciations for us to help us as we talk about IKEA products in the future. And so I will play the recording of Christopher helping us pronounce it. I'll just be honest, I'll never be able to pronounce it the way he pronounces it. I don't know how the mouth...
I'm just not going to do it. We are close enough. We are pronouncing them correctly, just with an American accent. The only way to pronounce them correctly is with the Swedish accent. Is the only way to do it.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you so much for that, Christopher. You sound great pronouncing these things. Maybe I'll just play him saying these words in the future, like instead of us. I don't know. We'll see. But much appreciated. That was pretty hilarious to listen to that. So that was fun. Now, this came in via Twitter. Nick Teague was asking about... He moved apartments recently, and he
left half of his HomeKit stuff behind, right?
Almost. He moved apartments, had all the HomeKit stuff set up in the first location, and then moved all the HomeKit stuff to the new apartment. But all of the location-based automations that he had, like when I leave home or when I arrive home, were not working. He changed his home address on his contact card, and he made sure that the fiance also had the correct address because they were both in the home. Looked like everything should have been fine. Turns out, because he moved homes but maybe didn't delete the first home and didn't reset up everything, that he had to sign out of iCloud on his iPhone and then re-sign in. And apparently that actually fixed the issue, and now it knows where home is, and those automations that refer to his home address are now working again. So that's just a tip there. First of all, thank you for saying that in, Nick. But if you have moved or move all your HomeKit stuff to a second location and you had automations that don't know where your home address is, maybe signing out of iCloud and back in on your iPhone will work. Be wary when you do that, because there's lots of things that affects, including like iCloud Photo Library and all this other kind of stuff. So just, be careful signing out of iCloud on your iPhone and signing back in. But it seems like it fixed his issue. So there you go. Now, Derek on Twitter asked both of us, He said he's running into an issue with HomeKit cameras not responding when he's got a VPN running on his device. He uses Proton VPN. He's using Eufy indoor cams. They work in the Eufy app, but not in HomeKit. Now, I am inclined to believe that if you try to use a VPN on your iPhone, which masks your location through the internet, that HomeKit stuff is going to be kind of messed up. I mean, wouldn't that make sense to you, Andrew? Maybe.
I mean, that seems to be what he's running into. The fact that it's specifically HomeKit that's not working, like it works through the Eufy app, but not through HomeKit. It seems like HomeKit, Apple is getting tripped up somewhere in the process.
Yeah,
but I don't know. Like I don't really run a VPN all that often, and I can't think of when I'm like running VPN and streaming like my HomeKit cameras at the same time.
Right, because you can access HomeKit cameras when you're outside the home, so it shouldn't be like HomeKit needs to think he is in the house. I don't know. So I'm curious, Derek, if you're out, like not at home, and you have the VPN running, can you see your stuff or not? And then when you're home, if you turn off the VPN, do you see the cameras or not? So just curious. I mean, obviously the VPN's doing something. I don't know how Proton VPN works exactly. Usually these VPNs install a certificate on your device and, has access to some things there. I'm not saying it's doing anything nefarious or bad, but it could just be messing with some of that HomeKit IP address connectivity when you're home. Maybe. I'm not sure.
I mean, if Derek's using a VPN, I feel like he's probably tried a few of these things, but my first thing would be like, okay, try a different VPN. Well, stick with Proton VPN and try a different like server. Usually you have different locations you can set.
Right.
So try a different one of those, see if that makes a difference. Otherwise, I would try a different VPN. There are plenty of free ones that you can just download and use temporarily just to see if any VPN is throwing up flags. And if it does persist, then maybe you need to look at choosing a different VPN provider, which I know a lot of these things like run like lifetime purchases, which would suck to have to switch, or if you got a long subscription with Proton VPN. But I've not tried Proton VPN, so I don't really know.
Yeah.
How that would impact things.
Let me recommend expressvpn.com/AppleInsider. They sponsor the show often, and I use ExpressVPN. And I don't have that issue actually, because I'll use ExpressVPN sometimes in the house, whether it's for a streaming reason or whatever, and I don't have issues with HomeKit stuff. So, just saying you try it out. You know what I mean. All right, Gerard Heimbach. Maybe I pronounced that correctly, maybe not. But he sent an email asking, is there such a thing as a HomeKit soil moisture sensor? And because he has an Eve Aqua, which you use outside to manage like irrigation or like hose water, he doesn't know if there's some moisture sensor for soil. I am assuming no. I have never heard of this kind of HomeKit product category. Do you know of anything different?
No, as far as I know, there's nothing. But I also love this, and I now want it to be a thing. I have used moisture sensors in the past for stuff like. Do you know the drone company Parrot?
Yeah.
Yeah, they made a device called like Flower Power or something like that. And it looked like a little stem, and it had prongs, and you would stick it into your plants, and it connected to your Wi-Fi, and then would send you alerts and remind you to water as necessary. Like you would tell it what kind of plant you had in there, and it would be able to use like AI to know exactly like what its moisture requirements were, and then would regularly remind you when it needed watered. It was super dope. But I could see something like that having like a Homebridge tie-in. That product is many years past now, and I'm sure there are other options out there. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's a HomeKit solution through Homebridge, but specifically in like HomeKit as the official capacity, there's not anything like that.
Yeah. I see a hydrometer, but basically like humidity. Like there's humidity sensors, obviously. We've talked about those. But I'm looking on Amazon right now, like they have soil moisture sensors for like $13 or whatever, but none of them seem smart. They all seem kind of dumb. No pun intended. Pun intended, actually. But yeah, I don't see anything HomeKit or smart related. So sorry about that, Gerard. If we ever hear about a HomeKit soil moisture sensor, we will report on it for sure. Now, last question. This is from Derek. He asked, were you able to hook up your Logitech Circle View on your front door and your Arlo wired video doorbell to the back door? If not, do you have any tips or suggestions on using 2 HomeKit doorbells? This is curious because now with some of the updates like from last year, if you have a HomeKit doorbell, the camera shows up on the screen. If you're using an Apple TV, HomePods could announce who the doorbell sees if it's using like HomeKit video and all that kind of stuff. So do you have your 2 doorbells hooked up, or do you think that that's any kind of conflict to have 2 like that?
So I actually have 3 technically hooked up in my house.
Oh.
So I have inside, mostly as a testing type thing, the Robin Pro Line Compact. So I have that one, which is set up as a HomeKit secure video camera, as well as a HomeKit doorbell. You know, if my wife wanted to come down to my studio and press the button outside my door, it would ring on my HomePod and say, Faith's at the door, at your studio door. So that could be a thing. But I have one there, then I have the Logitech Circle View wired doorbell in the backyard, so it surveys the backyard, watches for anything there. We have deliveries or anything that come around the back. It would pick those up, as well as us or our dogs when we're outside, as well as just extra security over our sliding doors, because, you know, split level home, just to ingress right into the house. And then on the front of the house, we have the Arlo wired video doorbell that works with HomeKit through the doorbell and the camera. No HomeKit secure video, but the other ones. But there's been no conflict. There's no anything like that. They're all set up in specific locations, specific rooms. So if, like on the Apple TVs, it'll pop up and say, hey, you know, your mom is at the front door, or whoever. You know, maybe I got to pitch the delivery guy, and it's like, hey, you got Phil at the front door.
Right.
UPS is here. So like that can be a thing. But I don't have a problem with, like, I mean, I have 3 set up in the home, 1 HomeKit secure video. Well, no, 2 HomeKit secure video. The Logitech is HomeKit secure video. Right. So 2 with HomeKit secure video, 1 just regular HomeKit. No compatibility issues or anything like that.
Okay, all right. Now, so there you go. Hopefully that answers your question, Derek. Now you just posted in here, snuck it in right before the show's about to end, something from Homebridge about soil moisture, like some elaborate setup. What is that?
I don't know. I was reading it while you were talking, so I don't know everything about this. But I was just curious. I ran a quick Google search for a Homebridge soil moisture sensor, and yeah, there is one in here. And it's recent. It popped up at the end of 2020, so it's a fairly recent addition into Homebridge. Homebridge plugin for an analog soil moisture sensor running on Raspberry Pi 3. So the actual sensor values are read in by an Arduino, communicated to an Onion Omega 2 over UART, and then sent over MQTT to a Raspberry Pi. For all of that, that makes sense for. But he does show the Home app in here. Soil moisture shows the sensor dryness, whether or not it's triggered. So if it's triggered, it'll send an alert that it is too dry, and then there's the actual percentage of the soil, the moisture in the soil. But there's all the specific stuff. There's thresholds that you can specifically manually set for how dry is too dry, what percentage of moisture do you want to see in your soil before it's triggered. A lot of stuff in here. There's example configurations, everything that you'd expect. So there is a way to do this. Depends on how hacky and knacky you are with getting this to run.
Right.
But it seems fully flushed out. Like I would try this. If I was still trying to run Homebridge, I would probably try this.
Okay, interesting. Well, maybe that's something you could try for us, and yeah, would be interesting to hear about it. Well, listeners, let us know everything that you're working on, what you're interested in, what you'd like to hear more about. You can tweet at Andrew and myself. Our Twitter handles are in the show notes. Don't forget to give us a 5-star rating and review in Apple Podcasts. But most importantly, head on over to our YouTube channel. That link is in the show notes. Subscribe, hit the bell icon, and watch these podcasts with your eyeballs so you can enjoy all the visual, wonderful things going on as we record HomeKit Insider. And yeah, let us know what else you'd like to hear about and questions you have, what projects you got going on. We'd love to hear about it. Check out all the shows going on, Apple Insider, and also the main Apple Insider YouTube channel. Andrew's got awesome videos going up there all the time. YouTube.com/AppleInsider. Did you miss anything, Andrew? Is that it? We got it?
Nah, I think you're good, man.
Finger guns. Talk to you later.
See you guys.